Teach Crest. It is Ruth Kerubo here. So I want to tackle the fourth episode on teacher interview related questions. Yeah. So in my experience, they asked me now what questions did I have for them. So at this point, it's good to be courteous, tell them thank you for the opportunity to have been able to interview with you. So I have an X number of questions. So at least have 2 questions. Yeah, so for me, the question that I asked was one based on my research. They had retrenched everyone, including the head cook. So at this point, my fear was, is it true? Because it was on the social media, and it's good to hear the other party also, Cindy. So I felt it was wise to ask that question just to get a clarification. And the reason is, at this point, you're like, since we have an HR, all these people have been fired at once. How credible is that? What parameters, or the KPIs as they call them, the key performance indicators that were used to declare these people, they are fired? Is it from a point like you are not willing to pay them? And in such a case, we now have even the policies that are there. We have a contract. If you have a HR, I believe there should be a contract that had been drawn, and in most cases there's that what do we call the time, the notice that is given. So how come this person was asking a celeb to post on their behalf anonymously that they had been fired, then 27,000 Kenyan shillings had been slashed off their compensation? Is it statutory or statutory? Gratuity, yeah. So I was just curious, to know, because as I was watching Dr. Kingori's video, there was somewhere that people are looking jobs in the wrong places. So I just wanted to find clarification, and it was so unfortunate that Madam got angry and pissed off and mad, and I'm like, we can't be shady. Yet you have asked me questions like, why did I leave my former station? Why are you mean with that information? Only for her to say, yes, we fired all of them because of poor performance. And that's where now I became curious. Poor performance? All right. Okay, it's fine. So I got curious at that point, and because of that, she got really worked up, and I couldn't understand her, because I genuinely want to know whether it's what I'm looking for. I don't want a place where you are employed, or rather maybe you are in another job, you're seeking another greener pastures, then you have perhaps went to the new station, only to find that the position is no longer there, or it has been taken, just for security, that is. And I was not able to phrase that well, because at that time, someone is appearing worked up, but it was a genuine concern, and this was stemming also from my end, because there are situations whereby you get that you have been employed, and the person who was there, your predecessor, had left. They just got paid and left, or even they didn't wait for the pay, they left. That still raises question. Why do you think this person would have left under their own volition, under their own accord? So yeah, that is one of the questions that I asked. Now when I was discussing with my relatives, my daddy was like, ulienda kwa nyumba ya wenyewe na ukaenda kuwasomea. No, that was not kuwasomea. It was just so are they a perfect match? An interview, for heaven's sake, is not one-sided. It's a two-traffic way. So you are interviewing me, and I'm also interviewing you in one way or the other, so that we can know whether we are a perfect match. And I remember telling my partner, you know what, even if I get this job, I'll just turn down the offer. Yeah, no matter how good it is. Because, right from the environment that was there, it was now tense, and you're like, even she's raising the tone, yeah. She was like, so what's the question? Yeah. So the next question I asked is, how does success look like in the first 90 days? So that was, and the principal now rephrased my question, said that she could qualify and get what it was that I was saying. Just like I said, sometimes it's not all about answering, responding. Try to know what this person is looking for. So she was like, 90 days, that's around 3 months. Yes. So the answer was that the success is gauged on in terms of performance, and again it's also gauged in terms of character, both on the student and you as an individual. And that was understandable because now this is a Christian school. They are in business. Obviously, they're looking at performance. Again, in terms of character, it's very important because at this time, the teacher is considered also as a role model when we talk about servant leadership. You understand? So that left there. So I want to give you more questions that perhaps you can want to ask. Just don't go and be a passive person. You can also ask, what does greatness look like in this role? Basically it's asking like, what are my expectations? What am I supposed to do? Yeah, so they might be enshrined in the contract where you're given the job description, but for most schools, I think they don't put that into consideration. So it's up to you to know what really the bare minimum they are looking at. You can also ask what is your onboarding process, so that for example, is it that I'm doing this interview, there will be again another interview before you are confirmed? How long does it take? This is very important because you also have other things to do, and just to tame your expectations, you don't want to be sold and you buy into something only to be told, what, we are sorry, we could not onboard you because of ABCD at the last minute, yet you have been waiting for that opportunity. So it's good to ask such a question. Another thing you can ask, why is this position opened? And that's what I had asked before I gave them now the background information. And they were like, obviously to replace a teacher who has left. I was like, why did that teacher leave? They were like, now she also got worked up. She was like, just the same way you left your first station. It could be many things. Green pastures. She now was literally projecting, and so at that point, I believe what you should do is to relax, be chill. Kwani wewe ndio ulifukuza mwalimu? No, you're not the one who sent them out. And in any case, it's also a blessing in disguise. By them leaving, there's an opening, so you're able to feel it. Yeah, so it's a win-win in any case. So if you want to ask such a question, you can also ask, because I understand sometimes also as employees, we are like, maybe I saw this advert last year, I've also seen this year maybe around 2 times. You also start asking yourself, is it that they are onboarding people, then firing them? Or is it that people are put on probation, then when they fail to meet the bare minimum, they are fired, so they start the hiring process afresh? Is it that they were just advertising to be relevant in the market? Is it that this position is just vacant because they have not found the right match? So it's good to ask that question, just so you know, just for information here. Another thing you can perhaps ask is, what does a day in the life look like in that position? Like, what is expected of you? So this should be in the contract. Like, for example, if you're a teacher, they kind of illustrate that for some teaching jobs, they tell you what you're expected to do, perhaps to plan lessons. Some you're expected to engage the students, to have inclusion. And there are places whereby you are not expected now to prepare things like the learning materials. We have a teacher assistant, the technical support. So it's good that you know that, so that you can even gauge how much you should be pricing yourself. Okay, another thing you can ask is, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face? Remember, you're going here and you want to be a problem solver to your employer. So it's good that you know some of the problems they are facing. Maybe it's in terms of indiscipline. So what can you do to that team? Maybe it's in terms of drug abuse, which is rampant in the area. What can you do? Maybe there's increased number of pregnant school-going girls. What can you do about it? So you try to solve. Maybe it was poor performance in that subject. You try to do that. Maybe it was the syllabus coverage that was having a big backlog. So that's what you're supposed to solve. Yeah, so you get to know whether you are able even to solve that. If you're not able, you just tell them. Yeah, you just wait. Another thing is, how do you define great culture? Though this you can even know right from the word go, even on the website. What do they say they are? Even from the pictures. Pictures say 1,000 words. You can know, is it a Christian culture based on this? Is it serious? You can know, you can tell. Yeah. Yeah, so you can decide just to ask, because what maybe there are those people who are truants. Yeah, maybe you just have your own problems, and you just decide to go without talking, Nini. So it's good to ask what great culture looks like. Like for me, great culture looks like good communication. Tell me, yeah, Kerubo, I'm not pleased with this, or I'm pleased with this. Can we work out? Yeah. So it's good to ask questions regarding the culture, even how you're supposed to conduct yourself. Yeah. Another thing is, what does the compensation package look like? I think I should tackle as the last question. Yeah. You can also ask, how can I best add value to this company and team? So basically, you're still asking what the problems are, so that you can use that to solve the problem that they want to be solved. You can also ask them, can you describe the immediate challenges in the position? Same question like I'd already said. You can also ask, what are the essential qualities of a successful employee in this position? Maybe for you to have qualities, perhaps you'll be like, this person must be a timekeeper. For a teacher, yeah, they must be a timekeeper. They are able to mark and give feedback to the learners. They're able to report to the office. They're able to keep records, the professional records, like your schemes of work, record of work, your lesson plans. You're able to update your TPAD appraisals, all those things. So that might look like a better deal. Also, what does this person possess? Yeah, the extra qualities. So that will basically help you to know what you're supposed to use now to your advantage to pitch for yourself, to have an high accelerator pitch. Another thing you can ask is, how is job performance evaluated? How do you gauge proper performance? For teachers, it's really tricky. I can teach everything. I can finish the syllabus. Actually, syllabus unamaliza na mwalimu. Yeah. So, but again, you will find the students maybe are behind. Or you did your level best. Umeenda ukaruka. It has ever happened to me. I was teaching oral literature. I've taken the students out, have given them notes, have given them questions. I'm the one who said the exam. Guess what? They still fail the questions. And I was like, when I'm comparing to my peer teacher who just had her children, her students in class, they never went out to dramatize, and they performed better. Yet I'm the one who said that. Kat, I was like, Could it be that I set a hard exam, but why did the other class pass? Yet I'm the one who thought, and I was so sure they have got it. Then my peer teacher told me, most students just take in the entertainment part and forget the educative part. So it's good now to assess even your methodology as a teacher. So that's why I'm saying it's good to ask what are the parameters being used to assess success in an individual. Maybe their team has proceeded to let's say county level, regionals, county, presidential gala. It could be in terms of academics. Perhaps there's a value addition. Yeah, someone used to get maybe 45, right now they are in 50, etc. And this is also good when it comes to the remuneration package, especially where we do the grade buying. So maybe for every A, there's 1,000 bob attached to it. That's also a part of motivating the teacher. So it's good to ask this question so that you can know how you also get to gauge yourself. Yeah. Some people be like, results will speak for myself. But in rooms of opportunity, sometimes you have to pitch for yourself and be like, last time we got this, and according to maybe the policies that are there, maybe you're a BOM teacher, it will be like, once we have this, maybe we should go for a trip. So it's good to have these things on your fingertips so that when you have hit even that target, you know what is supposed to happen. Yeah. Another thing is, what sort of management style can a new employee expect? So I'm doing a series about event management, and yesterday, that was 20th or 19th. Yeah, I did the 14 principles of management. So we have different types of management, dictatorial, we have servant leadership. So whatever, you need to be aware so that you don't feel out of place. There are people who don't even fancy the bureaucracy, the story that I have to do this, so it takes so long. It's not efficient for people who are like me, who want results so fast. So you might want to know what happens, like maybe a parent wants to come to school. They have been told their child is sick. Who are they supposed to report to? So it's good that you know the management style and know whether how you will survive in such. If you can't, go. And yeah. Another thing is, you can ask is, what do you enjoy most about working for this company? Now, in this case, there are very many panelists, so I don't know whom the question will be directed to. Perhaps maybe the colleagues who will be in your technical area. You can ask them, what does it look like? Or you preserve that question for the networking part, Yeah. So another question you can ask, what has your career looked like at this company? Are you growing? So basically that's what you want to know. Or you're just there, There are people who are there to pay bills. They're so comfortable. Maybe they are taking a loan. So they just, by virtue of that loan, by default, they are there. They cannot go anywhere. Yeah. So you really want to have an insight what it looks like. Okay. What is the biggest challenge facing the team today? So this is also good so that you can know how you can be an asset to the team or the staff in this case. So let's look at that question about how does the remuneration package look like. So as you ask this question, I said in the previous live, be open-minded, be collaborative. Yeah, don't be having worries, chitangu-tangu, that, oh, so and so, if I quote this, perhaps they will undermine me. No, just have an open mind and work towards having an amicable and agreeable figure that you are comfortable with as the parties that are involved. So in terms of the salary package, you can ask a question like, what is the base salary for this position? kidogo kabisa ni ngapi, like what is the gross. From there you can also ask them, do they perhaps contribute to things like the health insurance fund, the NSSF nini, what do they do, so that you can be able to know how much you're going home with. At this point you can gauge. Also you can ask, is it possible to provide details on bonuses, commission or profit sharing plans? So it's good to ask these things so that, you know, let's be realistic. A salary sometimes it's like an opium, and it's not you know, really sufficient to keep you going. You know, you can't be living from paycheck to paycheck, so you need some perks here and there to sustain you. So it's good to ask that question, like what else am I getting apart from that salary? I know one of my principals, former principals, used to tell us our salary should be our motivation, that there is no one who will you will never be compensated enough as a teacher. That's true. But again, in this 21st century, it's really funny that most people expect us to do charity, yet we cannot use that charity to pay for children's fees. We cannot use charity to feed. You know, like every day you are appearing even before your students, you need to be smart. So somehow there even needs to be a wardrobe allowance. You know, sometimes maybe you're teaching a high-end class, right? Okay, we cannot avoid the classes as much as we want to avoid, but they are there, the social classes. So you are dealing with people who are high-end, and they are wondering, mwalimu, you even have maybe a cheap phone. You know, like there's a station I was in, children literally sell charcoal or whatever business they do, and they have big phones than the teachers. You see, even at ile the respect tayari imeenda chini. So it's good that you look at the bonuses that are there so that you can use it to boost. Okay, well, this depends, you know, from person to person. If you have esteem issues, that could be a big deal, but for some of us, we're just there. Hata kama nywele tunaweza kata, we don't have a problem, you know. We're just there. Yeah, we have people who don't really mind a lot, you know. But there are those people who cannot even come out of the room if they don't have makeup, if they have not made their hair nicely. And this comes even to presentation. So it's good that you ask for more. You have something that can compensate you vizuri. Yeah, so that even by the time someone is like, you know, your pay slip should be your motivation, you're like, wow, yes, indeed it is. It just makes you wake up in the morning. So it now it shifts from even passion to profit. And this is what we keep saying even in career choices. You can't say, you know, I'm passionate about flowers, but I'm yet to find a way to monetize that. So before then, I had to even look at profitability. What else do I love? How can I make profit? Is it marketable? And such kind of things. So really a lot goes into that. Okay, yeah, again, you have to look, you know, you don't want there was this post about Komone. Was like, you know, he had got a job, then he didn't see it coming that, you know, you will be escorting children home, you know, in the bus. Then as you are there, you see the way the big doors are being opened, the gates. People are living in gated communities, my friend. People are serious out here. Watu wako na pesa. So you are there and wondering, maybe you have your cashew that is slanting. Yeah. So, or you're walking and you become the talk of the town. So you need to ask for more pay, you know, so that you don't become a beggar. You're not a pauper, you know, like literally someone who has to be begging people, you know. You cannot do basic stuff for yourself, yet you have a big title with no money. I mean, let's get serious. So you can ask on such grounds. You can also ask, what are the details of the health insurance plan? So like if they are doing the health insurance plan, let's say for company X, what does it, is it a premium one or just basic? You know, like for the premium ones, you find there'll be things like dental, visual, ornamental stuff, you know, cosmetics. Like you can go and do braces. But if you find just so basic, just go and get a painkiller there and outpatient services and you're back. But in terms of health, just pray so hard to God that you don't become sick. That's something I learned from my former senior teacher, Mr. Ndambuki. Hey, God bless you. He was telling me sometimes, even when you see these contributions, if so and so died, and you're asking yourself, so when will my time come when I'll be compensated? Because it's like literally money is going out of your pocket. So and so is sick, contribute. So and so had delivered, you have to part with something. So and so had to do this, and you have to part. And you're asking yourself, when will my time reach? Unless it's something that's a happy event. Please, 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 tafadhali, don't wacha hiyo pepo ipotele mbali. Let it just be elsewhere. Because maybe that welfare constitution is stipulated, maybe you will be compensated with a package, even be maybe your parent has died, God forbid, and this is a representation that will go there. This is the amount. It's just what the constitution says. And there are times that you're just a contributor, you have never benefited. Just thank God, that thing is not coming at your door. Yeah. But it's also up to you to know where you're directing your money, you know, your financial goals. So again, it's up to you to see whether that money is working for you. Because again, you can decide you don't want to be even a member of that welfare. Then things hit you. Then you find there is no representation for you that will come. And you feel really out of place. Okay? Someone is crying. Valerian? Sorry for interruption. So, as I was saying, we have those things that are likely to happen, and just pray they don't pass through your head, your family. So ask for clarification. Also, what is the retirement plan, especially if it's a permanent and pensionable plan? Though I understand that most institutions nowadays are so keen on 2-year contracts, 1-year contract, and these are good even in terms of performance tracking. Know that those people who, especially if you have looked at government schools where we have the TSC, permanent employees, someone is just there, you know, they stand to lose nothing, so they can offer the bare minimum. They don't go an extra mile, because what are they proving in any case? But if you're in business, so it's good to know how much you're coming with at the end of the retirement. Yeah, after you have retired, what are you coming home with? Yeah, also get to ask about other benefits. Yeah, like sometimes you might not be able to negotiate on the salary, so be open to discussing other things, like are there vacations, are there sick days, maybe you're keen into a family. You can ask whether we have the paternity leaves, are they paid, you know, maybe you're a sickling and you are also keen on not affecting the learner's performance. So it's good that you state that you get to seek clarification on the sick days that are there, are they paid or not. Yeah, you can also ask about the accommodation. Is it offered in school? And if it's offered, you know, as a person, okay, for me, I will not want to stay in school because you'll be utterly on call and back, you know. When unaachiwa kazi and maybe you're not compensated for it, unless you want to be a boarding master or you want to be a house mistress, then it makes sense to live within the school premises. Sometimes maybe the cost of commuter is high, so really depends on you. Do you want those teacher, or how they called teachers quarters, TQ? Yeah, so it's up to you. Do you want to stay there? But again, you know that it will come with greater responsibility. If anything happens, you will be responsible. Again, the con is that it will breed familiarity. Someone knows, oh, your partner scam, this is what you ate, you know. But just I don't know, but for me, I just love my privacy, so I would want to stay outside as long as there's security. Yeah, that's the main thing. So yeah, ask that. I had a colleague who even asked, you know, what can someone get if they decide to be the guys, especially for a boarding school. I think here men can make good money, you know. You just have an extra package as someone who goes and wakes up the children, you know, ensures they're in class, they have maintained order for their own individual preps. You can stand in for someone and you get paid. So it's up to you, really. Another thing is what is the vacation policy? I understand sometimes even employees, we are so funny. You know, you'll find someone maybe has got greener pastures, but they're not willing to disclose. They just want to go ahead like that. So some, especially those who are in TSC, they'll be like, I'll just take unpaid leave. Some, you find that, okay, like for the TSC, I understand you're paid even 13 times. Yeah, there's the December salary, which comes mara mbili, despite the fact that you never went to work. And just, I think this should be normalized. It's a way of saying thank you, you know, because hey, during the festivities, there's a high consumption, so it's okay to earn that. So you find that in most cases, people assume that you're ever on duty. And that's why you'll find for other schools, we even have the extra mile. Schools have closed, but you have people being left behind in the name of low achievers. And they're not necessarily low achievers that, oh, alipata D, alipata E. No, sometimes you'll find someone came with high marks, you know, their entry behavior was high, but they have not been able to keep up with it. They have not added value. They are just at par or below. So they are still considered as low achievers. And you keep them in school. I don't know how practical that is, whether it makes sense. For me, I feel it's kind of dehumanizing, both to the teacher and the student. Because let's say we have closed in October. You want to keep this person until around maybe for 2 extra weeks in school, and they're still eating on your budget, everything, they're showering, so it's actually increasing your overhead costs. Then they go home that November, December, they come to January. So does it mean by the time they'll be coming in January, they would have passed? Actually, they would have forgotten. So it would be better if you have to have such a thing, you do maybe 2 weeks before January someone reports. But again, you're affecting the teacher's schedule also. They also have family. Yeah. So let's be realistic as we have these policies. And we are interested in results. I think sometimes we go overboard. We just burn ourselves. We get fatigued for no good reason. And it doesn't bring in tangible results. So yeah, get to ask about that. Is there vacation, and how does that vacation look like? Yeah. Again, you can also get to ask about what the company offers. Yeah, beyond now the salary. and the bonuses. What else? Maybe do they offer teacher development programs in form of workshops, so that you are able to advance as a person. I know there are people who are not so keen into learning, but I can tell you for a fact, education or any other industry are really changing. They're really dynamic, especially in this 21st century where we have technology. So you just wake up, we have new trends, we have new theories. Just the other day we were talking about teachers centered approaches. Today you're just hearing CBC or learner centered, self-efficacy, all these things. So you need to be kept abreast about all these things. So ask, what do they offer, and if they don't offer, do they sponsor such progresses while you're still at work, so that you can have maybe a day you go, you attend a seminar to improve yourself. Yeah. I understand there was a colleague who was telling us about the marking, how people got into the marking whatever industry. So you understand that you have to go to the neck, you are trained, then you're certified, then you now become a professional marker. And it comes with good perks, apart from you being a marker, you now become an authority, because you can be invited by schools to do a facilitation. And you find most people are being paid above 5,000 per hour, depending on how you're able to gauge yourself. If we imagine now you have grown, you're now even a team leader, you progress, you become an examiner, you become a chief examiner. You can also see that the kind of jobs or opportunities you will now start attracting will not only be class oriented, you'll now even start working with NEC directly. Like it was in November, I applied for such a position as an examination coordinator. So, and I was saying, like, it was basically what we do, releasing the results, giving feedback, how are they handled when, that confidentiality, how it is done. So all those things, they count. So while you're at that job interview, ask them how you are able to grow. You don't want to be just a mere classroom teacher. Yeah, sometimes you even have to accept other roles, but at a cost, obviously. Yeah, so yeah, you can decide to be an HOS, be an HOD, as time goes by, become even a DOS. Yeah, and you grow because you want growth, or if that is what you're looking for. So all these things will count. Also ask them whether they even have a way of recognizing performance. People who have performed, how are they recognized? Maybe you have a principal's bash, you come, you do a party as a staff, you identify people who performed well, maybe in sports, in different areas, academics, who was the most improved. This helps even for one to have a good backing, even in subsequent interviews. They can say, I was nominated as best teacher of the year. Yeah, and also be aggressive. Like I don't know, for me, I was just inspired by most of my teachers. Like, we had my Kiswahili teacher. Yeah, I've forgotten the name, but he was called Baba Imani. So he was really good. He was a volleyballer. In class, he was teaching so well, and most people thought he was my dad, because indeed, okay, he was sure my dad, in terms of even how he will treat me. Like, for me, I'm not, when it comes to volleyball, I don't have aligned hands, so sometimes my ball would go elsewhere, but I'm good at coordinating people. So I was given an opportunity to become the field captain, just ensuring the volleyball team, as they come, they do the exercises, nini nini. It was so nice, just working with him. Then He applied for the teacher of the year, he won. Yeah, and thereafter he stayed in school till, because he was a class teacher, till the class left, that alpha class left. That's when he got another better role. Yeah, and that's how he went into TSC. I also loved my teacher, Madam Lea Jemtai. Yeah, she was not only a classroom teacher, she had written books even on literature, on poetry, and she also vied for a position as teacher of the year. Then it happened there was an accident along the way, but the fact that she immersed herself. We also had Madam Rosemary, the principal, yeah, and yeah, she also became the principal of the year, apart from being the chief principal, and that was really nice. You need to surround yourself with such kind of people, such kind of vibes, so that you're able to grow. Yeah, so don't only wait for in stuff, means of appreciating your work. Go out there. Like, I love also Dominic Corina, for who is the founder of this group known as SAC and Container Gardens. Yeah, I love the impact he's making. Even Vide was nominated to be in the global teacher of the year. So I wish him good luck. But you see, what all these people are doing is that they are really aggressive. They are not seated, yeah, just waiting for things to happen, or you're waiting for someone to sponsor you for you to go. Sometimes use money from your pocket, then you'll know how to return it. Once you have invested in yourself, you become an asset. And you're not doing this only for yourself, you're doing it for your client. Let's say you're dealing with children who have special needs. It's good that you even go for a diploma in maybe gifted education. Maybe they're so smart. How do you deal with them? How are you able to assign more tasks to them so that that energy is spent? Maybe you can engage even someone who is unruly. You give them even a position as a prefect. Some change completely. So you get to learn about even reverse psychology. So as much as you have asked these questions of the teacher development program, also be aggressive to be taking yourself to some of them, be sponsoring yourself. Whatever you do, have a sinking fund to cater for yourself. Like for me, I even had to start a driving class. I did it, so I got the DL. I was working at the boutique. I saved some cash and applied for my passport so that I could be a global competitor, because I don't want to be teaching only locally. So by me having that passport, even if I'm teaching locally, maybe I'm in the Scouts Club and they are going to Madagascar, Malaysia, or whatever, it becomes easier to go because you are prepared. Opportunities come to everyone. They come once in a blue moon. So be prepared, Time and tide happens to everyone. So when you have the opportunity, also be aggressive as an individual, dear mwalimu, to improve yourself. Yeah. Finally, you can ask whether there is a budget for continuous education programs. Yeah, like I understand, especially in the university, the higher education setup, you'll find there are maybe master's holders, and you're given a sabbatical leave to go and study, which is sponsored. In exchange, maybe you'll offer 5 years of your service, before you leave. So it's good to ask all these questions so that you don't undersell yourself, because if that has been your goal, maybe you want to advance your studies, you want to know whether they are able to come in, and sponsor. It's a win-win for you. You can also get to see whether there are opportunities for career advancement. Is it that you're just going to be a teacher? Are you growing? So you need to consider asking such questions. So until this point, I believe you have found value on how you can respond to the question. Do you have any questions for us? So I want to ask you, do you have any questions for me? You can ask on the comment section. I want to hear them. Mna maswali yepi? Unaweza jibu vipi maswali ya usaili ikiwa utaitwa? Nimesema utajikita sana katika maswali kuhusu fedha, kwa nini kazi hiyo ipo, hiyo nafasi imejitokeza, uweze kuuliza jinsi unavyoweza kuchangia katika timu yao, ni changamoto zipi wanapitia, na ili uweze kujua utaweza kuzitatua vipi. Uweze kuwauliza tu jinsi utamaduni wa shule yenyewe upo. Nimekomea hapo, lakini cha msingi nilichotaka kusema ni kwamba uliza swali si tu kwa kuuliza, bali kwa kujua na ujue tu. Haya, katika live nyingine nitaweza kufanya maswali yanayohusiana na jinsi ya kujitetea, haswa kuhusu swala la dini. How do you express yourself when you're asked whether you will fit into the role? Yeah. So bye people. Kerubo is out and Teachcrest is going to the world.